Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Christina Lingham, who is the Executive Director, Conferences and Fellow, CHI. And today, we're going to be previewing Cambridge Health Tech Institute's Next Gen DX Summit, which is actually, much to my shock horror, next week, starting on August the 24th, running to the 26th. And it's a hybrid event. So it's virtual, but it's also, as Christina's going to be delighted to tell you about, live at the Grand Hyatt in Washington, D.C. So, Christina, how are you?
I'm doing great. Always fun to chat with you, Rizwan.
Well, it's lovely to see you, Christina. So, I know you've got your event next week, but before we do that, I know that you've had CHF had their very first live event this week in Boston at Bioprocessing Summit. So for those people who are watching who haven't been to a live event in a long, long time and are weary and thinking, should we go or should we not? How's it been in terms of people coming through the door and in terms of, how have you managed to keep it safe for people as they're attending?
Sure. Well, we do require vaccination, so people go through the clear process. That's been going very smoothly. I think people appreciate that. They support that decision. And then there is not a mandatory mask mandate in Boston, but a lot of people are wearing masks indoors as well, which I think is a good decision. Next week at the Next Generation Diagnostics Summit, there is a mandatory mask mandate for indoors in Washington, D.C. So you will be doing that as well. I think it feels safe for the audience. They know that everyone is vaccinated and it's not, the space is big enough. It's not so crowded in the room. There was good attendance on site, and I think people were ready to meet face to face again.
Fantastic. Well, that leads nicely on to next week's event. So, Next Generation Diagnostics Summit. I mean, you can tell by the title, but for those who are not familiar with the event, what is the core focus of the event?
The core focus is diagnostics, so the areas of point of care, infectious disease diagnostics, companion diagnostics, or co-development of drugs and diagnostics, and liquid biopsy. And obviously, all of these topics are extremely important, especially the point of care, home, and self-testing and diagnostics. I think people recognize now that we've been covering point of care for the past 15 years, but now we're at the moment we realize this is going to get us out of the pandemic. The ongoing testing of emerging variants and being able to do that quickly and inexpensively. I think it's, we came on board early with this topic, but now we see people starting to adopt it and recognizing there's been tremendous innovation in the area. So we're deeply grateful to the community for developing those diagnostics. And that was, we're, along with the vaccines, developed in warp speed and record speed. And so we have a lot of leaders next week talking about those developments and talking about the future. So it's very exciting. This year, for the first time, we have 2 complimentary short courses for people that are there on site. And those are also led by industry leaders. So they're on Tuesday evenings, reimbursement challenges and pathways forward under PAMA. And Wednesday evening is navigating the EUA process for diagnostics. So you can see those are both very timely. And what's nice about this event is that we partner with a lot of organizations on the programming. So the Personalized Medicine Coalition, the Association for Molecular Pathology, Association for the American Society of Microbiology, and AdvaMed, which is the organization that brings together all the diagnostic manufacturers.
That's fantastic. And you did that all in one breath, Christina. I was...
Yeah, well, I guess I'm enthusiastic.
Fantastic. So, are there any, you mentioned obviously the program next week, but are there any particular speakers that stand out for you that people should be looking out for when they're attending the event?
That's a great question. Actually, the liquid biopsy space, not related to the pandemic, is very exciting space. Being able to seamlessly monitor cancers, especially bloodborne cancers. Tony Dick-Herber from the NIH is giving a keynote presentation. So that I think is very exciting. That field has seen some products be commercialized and on the market since we've been following that space. So that's very exciting. And I think overall it's a vibrant area. And the point of care conference, honestly, the whole conference is very exciting because people are they're seeing just tremendous speed and development of these diagnostics and bringing them to market. So the commercialization topic is really front of mind. And you hear about the tremendous impact on healthcare spending by bringing these products to market and having rapid diagnostics at your fingertip that are low complexity and inexpensive. It's really a huge area. So that's something I'm very excited about, hearing talks in that area and seeing the impact that it's currently having and also what the future looks like.
Brilliant. I mean, now, obviously, for the last 18 months, all your events have been virtual. Now, obviously, this week you had Bioprocessing Summit, which was a hybrid event. So what's the mix between in-person activity and virtual activity?
Right. That's a great question. So for the first time, we have a platform that can bring together both audiences. So we knew how to do the in-person conference, and then we learned how to do the virtual platform, and now we have a platform that brings them both together. So I saw that with my own eyes this week and saw how it works. And this meeting, we have 2/3 in person, 1/3 virtual, which is very healthy. I think people are ready to meet in person again. They want to meet in person again. And there's nothing that really replicates networking when you're in person, even with a mask on. So there's, camaraderie in the space. People want to see each other face to face again. But the platform works extremely well. So we have probably 80% of our speakers are in person. So that hasn't changed, except that they're streaming onto the virtual platform.
Right.
So you can watch it from home. You can ask questions in the chat box, and those will be read by the on-site chairperson and answered by the speaker. For the virtual speakers, their talk will play at the scheduled time, and then all the interaction will happen in the chat. The questions will be typed into the chat by the audience, and the speakers will answer them in the chat because they won't have a microphone. So it's really nice to be able to do that. It's nice that our company has been able to be flexible to bring these two audiences together. And of course, it's been a crazy time to be organizing conferences.
It really has
also been a lot of support.
Yeah, no, it has been a crazy time for all event organizers. I know that. Looking ahead, are there things that, you talked about the virtual audience and having learned stuff from the virtual events? What are some of the special features that are going to be at the meeting this year then?
Well, I mentioned the short courses. We have a reception. We have a plenary session that's being co-organized by AMP, the Association for Molecular Pathology. That's on lessons learned during COVID. And again, these are with people that are on the front lines of testing and talking about some of those supply chain shortages and what are some things that will make us nimble and more prepared in the future. And, hate to say the next pandemic, but certainly this one isn't over. It took a turn with the variants where the testing, I think, was really ramping down, and now it's ramping up again. So, as I said, the topic of home testing, self-testing is really important. I see that as the answer to how do we get ourselves out of the current quandary, and being flexible with that testing is so important. I don't know if you had to schedule testing at the earlier part of the pandemic. It was both very expensive and really tough to navigate. So imagine how you have a test at home and you can get back to work, or you can get back to travel, or you can get your kids back in school or in daycare. This is what we have now, but obviously needs to be expanded.
Sure, definitely, yeah. And especially if you want to travel, you definitely need to get tested. So you can't travel without getting tested. So there you go. Well, look, they all sounds very exciting. I wish I was there in person, but unfortunately, the US has still not let anyone from the UK come in at the moment. So we shall see how that develops as the months and weeks progress ahead. So all I can do is say I wish you lots of success next week. I hope you have a fantastic conference. I'll obviously visit virtually and pop in and see how it's going. Not quite the same, obviously, as being there in person. And it's been killing me seeing the images from Bioprocessing Summit this week and thinking I could have been there sharing loads of posts, but I haven't been able to. So there you go. It's just one of those things, unfortunately.
Well, I will share a video and upload it and tag you. Like you there in person.
No, I'd love to be there in person. But anyway, look, thank you very much. Have a fantastic event next week. So if people want to get information, I will put the link to the event above the video so they can register and see the agenda and see all the wonderful speakers that Christina has lined up for everybody next week and the whole program. So if you want to know more about the event, check out the link above the video, or you can leave some questions for Christina below the video. I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions you have about the event as well. So Christina, as I just said, have a wonderful event next week. I hope you have lots of success and everyone really enjoys and learns lots of wonderful new things about diagnostics.
Thank you, Rizwan. Great to talk with you.
Lovely. We'll look after yourself. And viewers, check out the link below above the video. And if you've got any questions for Christina, please leave them below the video. And until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.